Yo, what's up, everyone? So I haven't done one of these in probably a couple years, honestly. Probably since the last one that I did about Woman at the Well. This one is about the Book of Job. So a lot of people understand that the Book of Job is about loss. So essentially, if you don't know the story, this homie Job, he was a very prosperous person, very wealthy, had a lot of stuff, had a beautiful family, everything like that, and then lost it all. And so I'm gonna kind of give my take on it and how it pertains to my life. Obviously, we're gonna talk about some loss and stuff. We're also gonna talk about friendships, values, things like that as well. So in the book of Job, this guy Job was extremely prosperous. Like I said, homie had a lot of like cattle, beautiful family, ranch, everything like that. And Satan was politicking with God one day, and essentially he was talking about, oh, these people, they only worship you because everything's prosperous for them, you know. And so God was like, well, look at my homie Job. um Job, he loves me, he ain't never gonna falter or nothing like that. And Satan goes, well, then let me take some stuff from him, you know. So he goes and he takes away, like at the same exact time, like this army comes in, like kills all of his like herd and everything, and then his family gets killed except for his wife, so all of his kids get killed, everything like that, and he still is super faithful to God. And then so Satan goes back to God, starts politicking with him, and he's like, oh yeah, well, it's because I didn't hurt him personally, I just took all these things from him. So God's like, all right, go ahead, you see what you can do. And so he goes and he gives him like a bunch of like I think like warts or something, like just like a skin condition where like he had boils and stuff, like some stuff that really messed him up, you know. And he goes, watch, he'll start cursing your name and stuff. But this entire time Job goes and he's still praising God's greatness and everything, just saying like, yo, God, you're the one, you know. Even his wife's like, hey, you need to just go against God, and then that way, you know, you can do this and that. Well, come to find out, like three of his friends come from like faraway land, right? And they go and they start talking to him. And so first I want to touch on loss, right? So a lot of people, there's like this common misconception that like God only prospers you, right? And that when you're punished, it's because you did something wrong, right? And so the crazy thing about Job though is like he didn't do nothing wrong. And I'm gonna get back into that a little bit later when his friends come in. But Satan had taken a bunch of things from him to try to test his faith in God. And so I know like a bunch of atheists, they're probably not gonna understand this and stuff. But as a Christian, I'm sure that a lot of you have felt like, damn, I keep doing good, you know, and yet bad stuff keeps happening in my life. So fast forward, Job has three homies come through, and they all have something to say. They're all talking about, oh, if you just repented for your sins, if you just, you know, like trying to pretty much tell him like there's a reason that you're getting punished, and it's because you're a bad person. Whether it's some hidden sin that you don't want to tell anyone about, or it's some other sin, or some sin of like your family, or this or that. Like there's a reason you're being punished, and he keeps just saying like, no, no, no. I promise, like I'm not like that, and you know God's gonna figure it out, this and that. Um, and then this other guy, he starts speaking, and he gets it like half right, right? He starts saying like, oh, well, God's taking all this thing from you and stuff like that. And then God starts speaking later on. But I'm gonna touch on something that really struck me crazy in this story, right? It's the way that Job's friends talk to him. And so this year 2025, it's going pretty good for me, mainly because of the lessons that I learned in 2024. So in 2024, I learned a lot of lessons about loss. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost some things that I don't even want to talk about. They were very near and dear to my heart. You know, I've lost relationships, I've lost friendships, I've lost pieces of me that I can relate to Job because he lost, you know, family and all sorts of stuff like that. And so in the time around May, I really didn't want to live, you know what I mean? And that's just me being honest. I'm not saying for that, for no pity party, nothing like that. I'm just being real with you that in May, I did not want to be here. And I crashed out. I told everyone my problems. I told everyone the problems that had to deal with me and who and everything like that. And there was a lot of friends that I was hoping that I could count on, you know what I mean? And they weren't there for me. And once again, I'm not saying for this, no, for pity party or nothing, but so about a month ago, God called me to read Job. God was like, hey, I want you to read Job because it's going to make you understand a lot of things. So I'm sitting there, right, and I'm reading Job, and I'm thinking of like how his friends, they just keep saying this and that. They keep thinking from the human mind about how, oh, well, you must be this and that, da 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 da. And it got me really thinking because so I got, it's called a Life Application Bible. So it's got a lot of like good stuff in it, but it also has where it'll show you down here like some other thoughts and stuff. And it got me thinking, right? Like, it's not that my friends didn't want to be there for me. They just could only give me humanly advice of whatever they thought was going on in my life. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. A lot of homies haven't experienced the loss that I had last year. So they couldn't even speak from a position that would have actually comforted me. So in my time that I'm crashing out and I'm telling everyone these problems because I want people to sympathize for me, what I should have done, I should have went to God, right? So here's the crazy thing. Sometimes in pain, we seek the outside validation of wanting to go to certain people, but in actuality, we need to go to God because A, people are human. They're only going to speak from the perspective that they understand. Also, two, sometimes people, they're not really for you. They might be your friend, but what's a friend, bro? Like, honestly, what's a friend? Is someone that usually either you guys have a common interest or there's a give take relationship or there's something that's beneficial for something, but that's not going to fill your soul, you know? So the biggest thing that I learned from the book of Job was that sometimes in your biggest loss, when you're going through absolutely everything's getting taken from you, whether that's a job, because I lost a job last year, I lost a relationship, I lost friends, I lost some, I don't want to get into it, but I lost a lot of things, you know. And not everyone could be there for me, but God was there for me. And I went and I spent almost all of June and all of July reading my Bible daily, and I had this insurmountable peace that I wish that I could get back, and I'm getting it back, you know what I mean? But then in August I slipped up and went back to the things that didn't serve me. And then my September and my October was horrible, and then in October I tried going back again to the things that didn't serve me. And then my November was horrible. Parts of my December was horrible. It wasn't until I really just broke down one day, I got on my knees and I started crying, right? And I was like, hey, yo, God, like, I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being anxious. I'm tired of being all these things. And God was like, if you're really tired of that, you need to give me your everything. You need to give me your whole life. And so I was like, all right, cool. So tell me what I need to do. And he presented the book of Job to me. I'm telling you, the things that I learned in this book were so mind-boggling. Mainly because, of course, everyone understands that it's a book about loss, but it's also a book about friendship, too. The people that you think are the closest to you, sometimes they just can't speak to you. They just can't. They don't have the comprehension level to understand what you're going through, and it doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that they can't relate to you in that specific time, and that's completely okay. And so then God comes through, right? And he starts being like, hey man, what, you think that you did this, all this and that, whatever, but like, you weren't there when I made the world, you weren't this and that. And it really brings you down into a humble position of where you say, oh, my problem's this and that, but God's so much greater than all that, because he created everything. He created the universe, the world, he created you, he created your friends, he created your kids, he created everything, right? And so you really got to sit back and you got to think like, yeah, my problems suck, right? But my friends can't help me, and only God can help me. And that's what's the craziest part about this all, is God will take exactly what you lost, flip it, make it to where that's exactly what you needed to happen, and you can only go to him about it because humans aren't gonna surmount to nothing.